Good morning, this is Peter. Good afternoon, this is Peter Towers from ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to this webinar on the ESS BIZTOOLS products. We're just waiting for a couple more people to register and come on. We'll just give them another minute and then we'll get started. During the webinar, if you have any questions, can you please type your question in and raise your hand, and I will answer the questions later in the webinar. Okay, so ESS BIZTOOLS is a product to assist accountants to deliver business advisory services, chief financial officer type services to your small, medium enterprise clients. The system includes various articles and tools to assist. There is extensive material on business advisory services, which we believe is the new growth area for accountants to offer. To assist you in the marketing, there's a special newsletter we produce each month, which we call Business Plus. This newsletter is targeted at small, medium enterprise operators. To assist you in the education of clients on the type of services that you can start offering, we produce client mentoring and coaching, which has got 12 modules within it. Leadership, there are 8 modules on leadership that you can utilize with your team, and then if you wish, you can subsequently offer to your clients. There are 34 seminars that have been prepared, ready for you to use. You could also use them as webinars. The most popular webinars are the 1-hour programs, which you could utilize, and we've found the best time to run those is 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. There are 530 papers in the system that are targeted at small, medium enterprises that you can badge and send to your clients. And there are 60 papers that are targeted at accountants. We don't suggest you send them to your clients, but you utilize them within staff training and as reference material to read contemporary articles based on the writings of David Maister, Andrew Geddes, Rob Nixon, David Smith, and others on changes that are occurring in accountancy profession. We have a sister product, ESS BizGrants, which facilitates the identification of government grants for SMEs, and we are going to take you on the tour of our website at the conclusion of the webinar. So ESS BIZTOOLS is a relationship between the business advisory services, Business Plus newsletter, client mentoring, leadership, and the grants, as well as the papers and the seminars. So that's how it all fits together. And then there are hundreds of articles in the tools and forms, and there are various videos that are available to assist you with the understanding. Why is this an issue in 2015? Well, I think you can summarize it a number of ways. If you haven't read the report by Deloitte on digital disruption, I would recommend that you do so. We are able to send you a copy of the link to their websites where digital disruption reports appear, and I would commend that to you. It's interesting to look at an article that was attributed to the then CEO of Deloitte, Guy Swigers, 18 months ago, in which he said the accountancy profession will get worse and worse. There are plenty of things that clients are concerned about or should be concerned about in 2015. Debtors days outstanding, according to Dun & Bradstreet, are currently 51.6 days. That's still nearly 85% above the normal trading terms of 30 days. And that's the average. So there's plenty of businesses running with debtors days outstanding of 60 to 90 days, average. What can you do about it? Well, we're going to talk about some of that today. Personal Property Securities Register, a quagmire of legislation, in my opinion. Legislation that the government of the day and the current government have been negligent in not supplying adequate training to business operators. Many people do not understand how it works. Many people get confused just with the name, personal property. It should be called business property. That's what it is. We're going to talk about that. And within our system, we have a due diligence process which will help accountants operate worthwhile service to clients, which could save your clients going broke. Cost control is an ongoing issue. In fact, in the CCH survey into small business conducted 2 years ago, the 1,400 small businesses that were interviewed identified that cost control was the biggest single issue that they believe that they had in their business operations. It's worth having a look at the introduction to the Digital Disruption Short Fuse Big Bang report by Deloitte, where they identified the industries that were going to have the most pain in the short term over a 2 to 3 year period. Retail trade. Well, we all know what's happening in retail trade. The internet has transformed that industry. Shops are shutting down. Myer and David Jones at the big end of town are not performing as good as what the market expects them to do. Arts and recreation's another area. The ICT industry, finance, and here with the big red line around it is professional services, and that obviously includes accounting. So just look at what this report means to this profession. The impact, the percentage of change in business for professional services is estimated at 32%. What strategies are you developing in your business to overcome this problem? And just as another comment, how many clients have you got in these categories? Are you talking to them about the changes that are obviously occurring in their businesses? Is there additional work, new strategies that you can assist them in developing to overcome these problems? Deloitte have identified in subsequent reports what they believe should be the response to digital disruption. And they've identified recalibrating cost structures. It could be something that you can look at in your business, but I assume that you're already running your accountancy business fairly lean and mean. Some of your clients mightn't be in those 6 industries that you might be able to look at. Replenishing revenue streams. This is the response that the ESS BIZTOOLS and ESS BizGrants products most readily relate to, because we're talking to you about products that you can bring in to replace some of the fees that you're going to lose because of digital disruption and changes within the tax office. And reshaping corporate strategies. Not very big, I wouldn't have thought, for small business or for accountants, but it might apply to some of you, or it might apply to some of your clients. Let's revisit again some of the words that Mr. Swigers had to say. He said the accountancy profession is doomed unless the accountancy profession responds to the threat of digital disruption. And he then went on to say it will get worse and worse and worse. And then when you think it can't get worse, it will continue to get worse. Now, those comments were made on the 31st of October 2013 edition of Business Review Weekly. Worth thinking about. Worth looking at those comments with your accountancy business. What changes could be made? Another outstanding comment was made by a Deloitte partner at the Australian Technology Showcase for Accountants Conference organised by Smith Inc. 2020 in Melbourne on the 21st of October last year. Jason Bender said, there is a need for accountancy businesses to develop strategies on how to respond to changing market conditions. If accountants are not really careful, the profession could really suffer. Don't let this happen on our watch. At the same conference, the second Commissioner of Taxation, Jeff Leeper, was interviewed by David Smith, the Managing Director of Smith Inc. And in the 45-minute period that Leeper was interviewed, he made a number of interesting comments. One of the most significant ones was the one that's on the screen at present. The ATO's red tape reduction will reduce the cost for small businesses from the standard business reporting strategy by $500 million a year. He then said a lot of this will come from professional fees, accountancy fees, $500 million minimum per annum. I suspect the figure is closer to 700 or 800 million. And this is only from the standard business reporting. It doesn't include the changes that are already affecting the accountancy market from the changes in wage earner tax return lodgements, where over 1 million are now being lodged direct with the tax office. Based on the Commissioner's figures that 72% of Australians utilise accountants or tax agents, that million that the tax office now have lodging their returns direct with them would have represented about 720,000 returns that were previously lodged by the accountants or tax agent market. A significant amount of money. Leeper went on to say this is the digital disruption for accountants. So if you put all these things together, I suspect you're looking at a minimum of $600,000, but it could be as high as $1 billion a year, every year, from next year onwards. Leeper said that the standard business reporting effect would start from the 1st of July this year, about 7 weeks away. He then said there's a market there for accountants to offer cash flow management advice. Approximately 60% of the debt owing to the ATO is from small business, Mr. Leeper said, and that's totally out of proportion to the size that the debt should be represented by small business. So debtors' days outstanding I've mentioned. Within the ESS BIZTOOLS system, we have a debtors management system which will assist you to analyse your debtors, to talk to clients about how the debtors' days outstanding might be reduced, to identify the cash flow improvement that they would make, and to identify the debtors' days that are outstanding for the business operator. The Personal Property Securities Register system is very important. It covers an extremely wide range of business transactions. Everything within the business is potentially liable for loss. And everything within a superannuation fund, assets that basically have to be held by other people, are vulnerable under this legislation. So things like rare stamps, coins, artwork, paintings that are stored on someone else's premises that are owned by trustees of a superannuation fund could be caught under this legislation if the trustees or the owners of those assets have not registered them on the Personal Property Securities Register for a very small sum of money. So SMEs, we believe, and super funds need internal systems to track where the business's assets are. Cost control, I've mentioned. SMEs said it was their biggest single problem. If you're looking for somewhere to start in offering business advice, business advisory services, why not start with a review of costs within your businesses? ESS BIZTOOLS has been operating for the last 14 years, providing material to the accountancy market, and we have continued to evolve over that period to develop new and required information to assist accountants to deliver a wide range of non-compliance services. And we're going to continue to do that to help you, the accountancy practitioners at the coalface, to meet the challenges in 2015. What we're going to show you shortly is the introduction to business advisory services. There's 12 modules. And it covers things like the stakeholder input, the partners, the team members, but also the clients, a very important group. What do they want from your firm? There's then a module on leadership, because it's very important that the people who are going to be involved in the delivery of a chief financial officer type service understand the leadership role. Products, marketing, use of the needs analysis, which is really a menu of services, and our suggestions on how you launch this product to your clients in small seminars, no more than 10 businesses at a time, so that you can have a very intimate discussion with your clients. And we're raising the concept that accountants need to improve their professional selling ability, because it's a whole new ballgame. Business advisory services tools to assist you to deliver products includes a range of products, and some of them are on the screen. Business health, business evaluation, budgets, CFO services, mentoring, cash flow management, business planning, great area to get involved in, buying a business, and the personal property securities register. The Business Plus newsletter is produced each month. You can brand it. That's what we want you to do. Brand it and send it to your clients. Articles are prepared, targeted at small, medium enterprises. It's not a newsletter for accountants for your own purposes. This is a newsletter for you to send to your small, medium enterprise clients. And you can add or delete material. Client mentoring and coaching modules to help you identify to your clients the services you can offer. Just because you decide to start offering business advisory services, it doesn't mean that your client understands what you're doing. In fact, a few years ago at a Smith Inc. conference at the Gold Coast, a partner who was speaking indicated that when he was reviewing the P&L account, he identified $26,000 had been spent on business advice. He knew he hadn't supplied that amount of advice and billed the client $26,000. So he rang the client and asked him what it was for, and the client said, "I got a business coach, and I'm very happy with him." The line went. The accountant then said, "You know, we could have supplied those services." Apparently, the phone line went dead for about 30 seconds, and then the client said, "I've been your client for 15 years. You've never talked to us about anything else other than taxation and superannuation. If we'd known that you supplied these services, most definitely we would have talked to you about them." The partner in the accountancy firm said this was a great lesson to him, that he had obviously not promoted the services that his firm was able to provide, and his client had gone off and got someone else and paid them a fair bit of money to do the work. Leadership, there's 9 modules on leadership that initially our subscribers utilize within their own organization to train their people on leadership issues. But you could ultimately then offer this as a service to small, medium enterprise clients, because leadership is quite daunting at times in people understanding it. Client seminars. I mentioned this before. They're there to help you market your services to your clients. You can present them as webinars, all the materials there. All you need to do is to familiarize yourself with it prior to the webinar. And the papers, there's 530 papers targeted at SMEs, 60 papers now for accountants. And there's a set of PowerPoint slides for each of those papers to facilitate discussions with clients. or to run a webinar for a client. Many of you these days have got clients who live in areas a fair way away from your office where you could utilize the PowerPoint slides to have that discussion. ESS Biz Grants is part of the subscription package for a gold subscriber to ESS BIZTOOLS, or alternatively you can subscribe to it separately. And this works on the basis of helping you to quickly identify, under 10 minutes, to identify grants that an individual, small, medium enterprise might be eligible for. A great way to get into offering business advisory services is to talk to clients about government grants. And there's a lot of work under government grants that accountants who are proactive in offering business advisory services can undertake. Budgets, business plans, human resources systems, debtors management improvement, mentoring the management team are just some of the jobs that I've undertaken. And on the screen at present, we have the subscriptions, the gold subscription. You can subscribe in 12 payments at $238 plus GST, or you can avail yourself of a discounted upfront payment of $2,700 plus GST. And there are subscriptions there for silver and bronze packages. And full details of the components of those various packages is on our website, and I will show them to you shortly. On the screen is a testimonial from a subscriber. This testimonial was received by us a couple of weeks ago. So Carmel Edgecombe of ROCG in Chatswood was kind enough to send us a testimonial. And we believe it clearly summarises what we believe the benefits to ESS BIZTOOLS are to our subscribers. Please visit our website, essbiztools.com.au. You can apply for a guest login, which will last for 30 days, where you can look at all the material. You can download some of it. If you've got any questions, please give us a telephone call on that toll-free number. And what I'm going to do now is move into the website. So we're now on the website. This is a new website, so we've still got some material there to our subscribers, telling them that it is new. So we're going to go to business advisory services first of all. Remember, if you have any questions, can you please type your question in and send it through and raise your hand, and I will answer the question a little bit later in this webinar. So the first area I want to show you is the training modules to prepare yourself to offer business advisory services. And we'll have a look at one of the modules so you get an idea of how it works. So we've got introduction, getting organized and offering, team training, leadership, marketing, review of products you might be able to sell or provide, the SME needs analysis, selection of the products, planning seminar, how you go about selling the concept of business advisory services, and the concept of one-on-one meetings with the clients who have attended the seminars. Now, we recommend that this training be undertaken over 2 hours once a week. So over a 3-month period, you work your way through this material. The key to having this as an effective program is to appoint a facilitator. It could be one of the partners in your firm, or it could be a senior manager or an external consultant. But it will work best if someone is in charge, and it will work very well if everyone is committed to this process and reads the material prior to each discussion, so that there can be a general discussion on everything that is happening. I've now gone into the first module, and you can see there's a lot of red on your screen now. It's the various items. We could download all that into your hard drive, but I'm just going to pick out a few of the items just to show you. There is a control sheet for each module to guide you through the process. These double lines here appear on every article within ESS BIZTOOLS. This space has been left for you to put your logo, your name, your address. This is an internal document, but it's probably not a bad idea to brand it in any case. And this document leads you through and suggests to you what you should be doing next. So there's some papers there we're going to take you to that you can read, and there's various articles. BAS in this concept relates to Business Advisory Service, not the other BAS. So if we'd downloaded this into your hard drive, you would be able to just link from one to the other. So I'm just now going to go through and pick out a couple of these forms. So there's a partner evaluation form that we'll just bring up on the screen. So this is a form that you can edit or enable editing, so you can type in your answers, and it gives an opportunity to ask a partner to give a summary of what he or she really wants to do in the firm. Now, not everyone's going to be interested in doing business advisory services. I know that. Some people love taxation and audits. But it's giving an opportunity for a partner to say what they have got in mind, what they would like to do in their career, so they can answer the questions and identify the sort of work that they're interested in being involved in. Some partners don't say much at times at partners' meetings. The purpose of that form is to try to encourage them to express their preference for what they would like to do. I've now gone to the team member survey form, which is basically the accountant's form. And again, it's asking for comments. What do they like about their job? What do they dislike? What services are they interested in providing? And then we've got a full list of what the business advisory services might be. And one of the other things I just want to bring up is the client questionnaire. I think it's very important to get feedback from your clients. In our material, we refer to the various surveys that have been undertaken on small medium enterprises by MYOB, CCH, universities, Smith Inc. 2020. But there's nothing like having a feedback from your own clients. So you can say to your team, this is what our clients have had to say. Now, our suggestion is that you don't actually give this form to one of your clients to complete, but another partner in the firm that doesn't normally handle this, an individual client, should go and have a cup of coffee with the client and basically pose these sort of questions and then write the answers up so the firm can study them. Because I think it's going to have a lot more influence on your total accountancy business if you're able to quote that you've surveyed 20 of your clients and 88% of them have indicated that they're very keen for business advisory services to be introduced. Then quoting what MYOB or CCH or Smith Inc. 2020 have discovered from their surveys. It sheets it home to your team. So that's giving you hopefully an idea of how that particular document would work. There are other forms there, as you can see. And then we move down into the product modules. I'll just show you these. Now, these are modules that are prepared, ready for use. There are 15 major subject headings. Some of them have got more than one module attached to them. And they will assist you to identify what's got to be done within an organisation. Let's pick on one of these, and I'm going to the Personal Property Securities Register due diligence form, primarily because I believe this whole area is very important. So we have the procedure control form, similar but not the same as what was in the training area, because there's a lot more to this. And we've divided this one into 4 sections: quotation and proposal, articles to assist the client. So we're suggesting that you would send some articles to the client to familiarise them. And we have preparing for the assignment and then work checklists. So some of the articles we got there to send the client frequently asked questions on the PPSR and the 10 PPSA myths, and how you might prepare for the assignment and the work checklist. So this is a guide as to how the system operates. So let's just go and have a look at a couple of these forms that are contained within the system. There are forms to show you what terms of trade are about. Now, this is undoubtedly legal work, but the documents need to be drafted. They need to be drafted after 31st of January 2012, and this one actually refers to a document that's been prepared by another company, PPSA Protection, which is within the system. What I'm looking for is the major document within personal property. This is a major identification. So what we're envisaging is that you've spoken to your client and your client's commissioned you to undertake a review. The ESS BIZTOOLS clients who are using this system have told us that they've undertaken due diligence reviews that have taken 1 to 8 hours, and they're charging an average of $350 an hour for this work. Probably depends how complicated the client's affairs are, and there may have been some other work that had to get done in that 8-hour one. One of the big problems is people facing up to where their assets are at any particular time, and that's the concept behind this particular document. Where was your stock? And the key questions are, was it on your own premises, or was it on leased, someone else's, or on consignment? And it's these areas of leased premises, someone else's property, or on consignment that are the potential troubles for the owner of an asset under this legislation. And you can see we've divided the stock into a number of categories, and that's really to prompt you to make sure you keep on asking questions of the client. If you originally ask them where their stock is, they're just as likely to just tell you what's in their own premises. But by going to the next question where it asks consignment stock, you may suddenly discover there's a couple of $100,000 worth of consignment stock in 2 locations. And the same with demonstration stock. This legislation also extends to produce, so grain that's now been stored into silos where 4 other farmers have also got their product in there, can get some relief under this legislation. So this is a form to help identify where the material or where the stock is, and then to start asking some questions. Have you got a terms of trade agreement that relates to this transaction? And if so, have you done anything about it on the Personal Property Securities Register? Just having an agreement is not enough. We've then looked at livestock and crops. We've got livestock on agistment, a huge issue in Australia at present with the drought in Queensland and parts of New South Wales. We've listed thoroughbred horses because it was an infamous court case in New Zealand where a stallion was at stud. The farm had not paid their fees. They were obviously in financial difficulty. The full court of the New Zealand High Court ruled that the liquidator could seize that horse and sell it, and the horse was reputed to be worth $2.2 million. You wouldn't want to be the client that owned that horse, and more particularly, I don't think you'd want to be their accountant. We then look at livestock review, crop review. So I'm just going to move through some of these so you get an idea. Goods left in someone else's possession. Goods that attach to other goods can get some protection under these clauses. Please remember that the RMAPA clauses that I see are still being used by a lot of businesses are not effective anymore at all. Some people think they are. If you talk to liquidators, they will tell you that people contact them and say, I know, we're all right, we're protected, we had a RMAPA clause. They are no longer effective. We then go into artist works, paintings, sculptures, designs, works of art. Now, some of these assets might be owned by superannuation fund trustees. And as you know, according to the Taxation Office rules, super fund assets shouldn't be in the office or the premises or the home of the beneficiary of the super fund. So where are they? Rare coins, rare carpets. Where are they stored? And if they're stored in someone else's premises, which by definition they basically have to be, have they been registered on the Personal Property Securities Register? Because if not, and there's an insolvency event affecting the owner of those premises, then your clients could basically lose a superannuation fund asset. Plant equipment, construction equipment. There's been a number of cases and incidents involving tradesmen and builders with scaffolding because they just put it onto someone's premises and the owner of those premises or that site has had an insolvency, administration or bankruptcy event. So what this form is trying to do is to encourage you and your client to look at everything that you have. Then we have plant and equipment, because there's different definitions on leases. And the troublesome area is leases in an indefinite period and up to 1 year automatically renewable and for more than 1 year. If they're not registered, the owner could lose ownership of those assets, even though your client has paid for them or has still got a major debt, as has been one of the cases in South Australia. Some people have lost some water tanks over there to a liquidator and they still owe $830,000 to the bank. Not a nice position to be in. Motor vehicles come under this legislation. Motor vehicles can have a different lease period, so instead of the 1 year, we're talking 90 days. There is a move to change that legislation, but as far as I know, it still hasn't been changed. And the change is going to take it to 1 year, which will make it a little bit more flexible. But people still need to be aware of it. Boats and watercraft, and so on. So that's the key components that are in the Personal Property Securities Register. There's a whole stack of other information there which will assist an accountant to conduct a realistic due diligence review of what is happening in this space. Our recommendation is that you should be undertaking this process for every client on a 12-monthly basis. In some clients, probably every 6 months, so that you can understand what they're doing. And if they've had changes in staff, perhaps you should be doing it every time there's a change in staff of the person who's supposed to be looking after all of this. because it can really catch up and harm people. This is an overview webinar, so I'm now going to move into client mentoring and coaching. These are 12 articles which we have prepared, or 12 modules, to assist accountants to identify to clients the type of services that you're able to offer. So there's the summary of the articles. This all came about because one afternoon I had a phone call from one of our subscribers in Perth a few years ago, and he said, help, I've got someone coming in to see me in about an hour who I've been trying to get as a client for 5 years, and I want to identify that we are different to other accountants in the Perth market. Which of your papers should we give them? So I wrapped off about 6 papers, and then he said to me, why don't you put that into a system so that next week when I got someone that's just going to start a business, I don't have to ring you again. So that led to this client mentoring and coaching, which covers purchasing or commencing, introductory and experience management. We just broke management up into 3 compartments, if you like: banks, business planning, corporate governance, business networks, exporting, marketing, family businesses, and getting investment ready to try to raise money from venture capitalists or business angels. So if we go to the first one and we have a look at purchasing or commencing a business, there are 6 series, and our recommendation is that you send these to your client in weekly installments. Some of our subscribers copy them all in one go and then put them into a nice binder. That's up to you if you want to do it that way. But I like the idea of reinforcing the message by you sending an email to your client every week so that they can see the material. And then with every series there is a letter to explain to your clients what you're doing. This template could be placed on your letterhead so that it's able to go to your client. Obviously, you can prepare your own letter if you wish, but there's a letter there with each series. And within each series also there is a questionnaire. Which you would badge with your logo and name before you send it to the client. And you're asking the client to rate the papers. Our recommendation is 4 or 5 days after you've sent this, you have someone ring the client and inquire as to whether they've got any questions on any of the matters that have been forwarded to them. Because unashamedly, we're trying to utilize this information to assist you to upscale the type of work that you're undertaking for your clients. So by starting the discussion looking at corporate structures, and also at the same time in the same series, the R&D tax incentive can be beneficial if someone is being very coy about what they're going to tell you about their research and development project. If they're in a sole trader situation and they read the papers, they will notice that they've got to be a company to gain the R&D tax incentive. So hopefully that will encourage them to go and have a discussion with you or a lawyer to at least get their corporate structure right. Then there's papers within the system, which is obviously going, which will be part of this first mail out. So I'm just going to bring up one, purchasing a business checklist. Not much in the contents because it's just one thing, but this takes you through all aspects of the information that I think you should be saying to your client, this is what we're going to need, or more particularly what they're going to need, so that they can prepare their own strategy on how they're going to enter this marketplace. And this is a paper, so you would, I'll go back to the beginning because I missed to say that, you would badge this with your logo and firm name. So when it goes to the clients, you can see it. There's other material there, and that would then be followed up the following week. Then you got next week, it's self-analysis and other items there, and you got the other newsletters or articles to send it all to the client. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, can you please send them through. Next one I'm going to go to is Business Plus newsletter. The newsletter is prepared each month except January, and it's uploaded to our website on the second Friday of a month. So the newsletter was uploaded last Friday. We're going to send you with the material after this webinar a complimentary copy of that newsletter. You can use it if you wish. We call it Business Plus. So when you receive the newsletter, you are asked to remove our branding on it and replace that with your own. There's an editorial type article. We've been producing these newsletters for eight and a half years. There's 2 extra newsletters in May. One gets produced tonight and tomorrow morning, and that's on the federal budget as it affects small, medium enterprises. That goes out to our subscribers tomorrow afternoon, and we're also going to send that to you. In the beginning of the 4th week of May, we also send out our end-of-year tax planning checklist newsletter. So you've got articles here that are targeted at small, medium enterprises, covering a number of activities. To keep them informed. You can edit the material if you wish, and you can add material to the newsletter if that's what you want to do. It's not full of taxation articles, as you can see. There's one article there looking at the taxation review that the government's announced. There's a link to articles within Attention Accountants segment, and all that's saying to you, if you want to get some additional information on any item that's been discussed in the newsletter, then you can do so that you're better informed when you're having a discussion with a client. You might not be up to speed with some of the items that have been discussed in the newsletter. We're giving you a bit of a heads up that you can go onto the full system and read about something in more detail. What we now have is client seminars, stroke webinars. The ones that are numbered under 1,000 are for various time periods. Some are up to 5 sessions of 3 hours, 15 hours. But over the years, we've found the most popular webinars have been the 1 hour ones. So if we pick on one of these, it's called what makes a profit-making seminar. The first article you get is general hints on running webinars, seminars. I'd hate to think how many of these that I've run over the years, both seminars and webinars. We've tried to remember everything that we've learnt and prepared a summary to assist people who are not used to running these things on some of the suggestions that we would have to run successful seminars, webinars. And then there's a whole series of templates which will help you with registration forms, attendees lists, complimentary invitations, thank yous letters to any keynote speaker you've used, etc. And then we have the material itself, which we'll just go back here to So this is now going to take us to a paper who can assist small business operators. So there's the paper that's going to be discussed at this seminar or webinar. So all that material is compartmentalized, so it's readily available. You won't turn up and have the wrong material. And then there's a set of PowerPoint slides for each of those papers. You can put your logo on these PowerPoint slides. So you've got the slides to help you in the presentations to your clients. The last area I now want to go to, because time is running out, is sections and papers. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, please send them through to me, and we will answer these in the next couple of minutes. We've gone to section and papers. There are 65 sections within the system, and each contained papers. The sections that go through to 499 all relate to articles that are targeted at small, medium enterprises, and the ones over 500 up to 590 are on articles targeted at accountants, and the leadership material is in series 900. So if we go back to one of these headings, operating a successful business, so there's the list of papers that are within operating a successful business. So if you wanted to have a look at an article, we'll bring up characteristics of a well-run business. You receive an executive summary of what's in that paper. There's some attachments to it, but here's the paper, which we can open. You would badge it. There's your contents. This is a paper that's ready for you to prepare to badge and send to your client. You can charge your clients for this material if you wish. It goes through and looks at the 20 characteristics that we've identified for small business operators. And there's a set of PowerPoint slides. So they're alongside the paper. So that's how the system operates, that you're able to work your way through and look at all that material. There are blog articles that are available within the system. We produce an article we call Accountant's Minute each week. So they're on our blog that you can visit and utilize. These are all subject headings that we believe are important for accountants to be thinking about in 2015. With a summary of who we are on our site. That's not what I was looking for. and you've got the contact details. You can send us emails and we will talk to you. I'm just going to check again to see if there's any questions. Said I would show you the pricing at the end, or the allocation of where the dissection between gold package, silver package. So if you go to pricing, there's a summary there of what's in the gold package, silver package, bronze package. You can subscribe for the Business Plus only, if that's what you require. And there's a full summary there of what's in the various packages, coming back to the overall subscriptions. So thank you very much for participating in this webinar today. We will be sending you a survey form. Could you please take a minute and complete it and send it back to us? If you have any questions you think about subsequently, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or give us a telephone call on 0747241118. Thank you very much for participating in this webinar today. I sincerely trust that you now have a better understanding of the role that a product like ESS BIZTOOLS can play in assisting you to offer a wider range of non-compliance services to your clients. Goodbye.